So for starters, we encourage our people to come to us with ideas, right? I'm big on, hey, bring me solutions, don't bring me problems. And Officer Conley actually created a proposal that he brought to myself and the assistant chief, and it had everything in it from onboarding the dog to fundraising to how the program would be sustained. And once he had pitched it to me, I said, okay, let's pitch it to the mayor and council. And he helped me with that, and we got a really successful result on that. Some of it were based on, I guess, assumptions about raising the funds. We budgeted $35,000 for the K-9 program for 2024 with the assumption that we'd be able to raise the money and the understanding with the city. And just in 8 months, we raised $30,000 all from one community grant locally, and then the rest, that was about $8,000, and then the rest from local donation, just citizens and businesses. Yeah.
So canine dogs normally only work in jail settings, ones that are trained to alert on fentanyl specifically. So how does it feel to have a dog with that ability here now serving at your department?
Yeah, when the program was pitched, the legislation wasn't complete on reclassifying fentanyl for it being a drug that canine dogs working the road could detect. We knew it was in the works, but some things had to come together, and the timing really just worked out. We got lucky that that legislation was ultimately signed and reclassified on September 11th, and then Officer Conley and Maverick graduated on September 16th. We knew that fentanyl is an epidemic in Washington State and in our area too, with the number of overdoses we have and cases we have, and we knew there's all kinds of, I guess, approaches going on right now to combat the fentanyl crisis, but enforcement and detection and getting it off our streets is still a big piece of that. And we knew that getting a canine dog that did have the ability to do that, working in our area, would yield positive results. And I think in the first 10 days we've seen that.
Tell us a bit more about those positive results you've already seen as Maverick has kind of gotten to work here recently for the community.
Yeah, so he's sold to the community as a regional resource because we don't want to raise funds and then he would just be used in East Wenatchee. And part of the interagency local cooperation that goes on here in this valley is sharing of resources and tools like that. So the other agencies are aware he's working. He did his first weekend this last weekend, and the searches that he did resulted in 6 different vehicles being searched, 5 of them off of a search warrant. And what that looks like is usually a traffic stop, and officers see something that would lead them to believe that there could be narcotics in the vehicle. It could be something that looks like paraphernalia, behaviors that are going on in the vehicle, but 5 of those vehicles were taken for search warrants. The search warrants are still being processed on those vehicles, but just in the last weekend, he seized over 80 fentanyl pills resulted as a result of his search warrants, and then 3 firearms were recovered out of a vehicle that was seized for a narcotics search warrant. Maverick isn't trained to detect on firearms, but obviously we find other things once officers are in the vehicle for a search warrant related to the narcotics. Methamphetamine also located, and like I said, just one weekend. So I anticipate it's going to build.
So in this day and age with the current legislation that's just recently changed, how difficult is it and what is the time frame like for departments and communities to get a canine like Maverick?
Yeah, so Maverick was trained through Washington Department of Corrections has a program where they don't charge the sheriff's office and police departments to send their handlers and dogs through. The person who runs that program locates these rescue dogs and then decides if they're a fit for the program. Right now, it's a 2.5-year wait. It's so much buzz, I guess, around getting these dogs that are going to be trained in fentanyl detection. So he's actually closed it down. He runs 2 classes a year of 4 dogs per class, 4 dogs and handlers. In each of those classes, one of those dog and handlers is earmarked for the Department of Corrections. So it's going to be a slow process to get dogs that are trained in fentanyl detection out on the road in Washington State. So we're really lucky to have one in our community, and I think we're going to see the benefits of that over the next few years.
Can you tell our viewers a bit about Maverick's age, breed, and then how he became available for this program?
So he was a 3-year-old. He's a 3-year-old German Shepherd. He was donated to the Department of Corrections, who hosted the training. Typically they're rescue dogs, however he's kind of a cool, different scenario. He was privately donated to the program. So when I got him, he already had some training with like German words and German commands, which has been super helpful.
So you communicate with him in German when you give him commands?
Most of his commands, yeah, are in German.
All right, and so I understand that he was selected as a rescue dog for this program, and then when you got there, you were partnered with him?
Correct, yeah. So after the first week, we worked with all the dogs in the program, and they're assigned by personality. So he was assigned based on our drive and our personality and all that. So that's how he got assigned to me at the end of week 1.
So tell us a bit about what your relationship with Maverick is like now.
It's pretty good. He's pretty protective of me. We like to have fun. This is all just a big game to him. He doesn't know that he's finding drugs. He just likes to get the ball. So I make it fun for him.
All right, so I understand that you and Maverick graduated together from the narcotic detection training program around September 19th. Can you tell our viewers a bit more about what that training involves and how it's prepared Maverick to serve our local community?
Yes, it was 6 weeks at the Airway Heights prison. 5 weeks there, and we did another week of on the road training at some prisons. He learned how to search vehicles, luggage, parcels, you could say, and buildings, like interior buildings and whatnot. So he got a lot of repetitions of doing that, imprinted on fentanyl, methamphetamines, cocaine, and heroin.
So he is trained to detect all of those?
He's trained to alert the odor of those. That's correct.
All right, so walk us through some aspects of your role as a canine handler. In what ways do you support Maverick in his work and try to continue his training on the job?
So we do, like I said, best I can nightly training. For our certification, we have to do 16 hours a month, but the track that we're going with this first week, we're going to be well over that. Just that last weekend, I was able to train just for 9 hours. So, and like I said earlier, it's just a game to him. So he just likes to have fun. So I just try to make it fun for him, and that so far it's had great success.
Yeah, so to him, he's not working.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, he was selected because of his extremely high ball drive, which is what we call it. He was donated because he didn't make it as a house pet somewhere. So, because he's always all over the place. All he cares about the ball. He doesn't care about anything else. He's destructive when it comes to jumping up on tables or something like that. So that's why he was given the job of doing something like that.
I was going to ask, because you mentioned, he failed previously as a house pet somewhere. I understand now he lives with you.
He does.
How has that been? You mentioned an issue with jumping on tables.
Yeah. He has his own kennel that was graciously donated by, the TGR Roofing is the one who built it for him. It's outdoor, it's enclosed, it's gated roof, really nice roof, I should say, because they're a roofing company. He likes it a lot, so he lives there pretty much most of the time he's at home.
How does he search cars or areas, and what does he do to alert you?
Typically with a car, that's when he gets the most exposure on working the street. He'll start with an exterior search. He searches door seams, underneath, anywhere, and then if he sees alerts or detects odor, he'll start with a change of behavior. And if he gets close to the odor or the source, or if it's a lot of odor, he'll do a sit response.
What precautions are taken to protect Maverick's health as he's searching for drugs, since he is working with these opioid substances?
Yeah, so like I said, he just sits on the odor, so not necessarily every time he hits on it is he touching his nose directly to fentanyl. However, I haven't been aware of any documented overdoses of dogs, but we do carry Narcan on our person and in the car as well. And me being a handler, I carry extra Narcan with me as well too if needed. Good dog! That's a good boy! That's a good boy!